Hello and welcome our dear viewers to a new edition of Windows. I am Basma Taha. The Grand Egyptian Museum is indeed one of the most beautiful museums in the whole world. The Grand Egyptian Museum is Egypt's gift to the entire world. It is expected to attract millions of visitors each and every year. Today we will talk more about the Grand Egyptian Museum and its role in reviving tourism, and also we'll talk about the Egyptian heritage, and also we will talk more about the amazing and significant tourist landmarks here in Egypt that dazzled and still dazzling the entire world. And to shed more light on this issue, I'm honored to have here in the studio Mr. Salah Hadaet, tourism expert. Thank you so much, Mr. Salah, for joining us on Windows Online TV International.
You're welcome. Good evening and happy Eid.
Thank you so much, happy Eid. And as I said, the Grand Egyptian Museum is Egypt's gift to the entire world. It is expected to attract millions of visitors each and every year. And recently, the UNESCO has listed the gem, the Grand Egyptian Museum, as one of the most beautiful museums in the world. I would like to know more from you about the significance of this museum and its role in reviving tourism. As we know, the inauguration will be very soon, the 3rd of July, right?
Okay. When we start to talk about the Grand Egyptian Museum, we talk about a great project for culture, or the greatest culture project of the 21st century, as the UNESCO showed that. We talk about the greatest and the grandest and the largest museum all over the world, made for a civilization all over the history, or not just for Egypt, all over the history of the world. We talk about the space of the museum. It's almost 500,000 meters square. If we compare between the museum here, Grand Egyptian Museum, with other museums in the world, no, now Egypt proves that it's lead the whole world about the culture, tourism, one more time. When we talk about the design, we talk about the importance of the artifact inside the museum. It's showing the importance of Egypt as the lead the culture, tourism. With the several changes all over the world around us and about the politics, now we will talk about Egypt, showing that again, Egypt safe, Egypt going for have the progress, Egypt going to post herself again as the greatest country for the tourism in Egypt. And also we saw that for the numbers of the tourists last year and last 2 years, and also what we suspected for this year. It's showing that the importance of the museum is coming to see.
Yes, and also it entails huge gardens, children museum, education facilities,
Exactly.
conservation centers.
Yeah, and a lot of we could talk about the child museum. We talk about for the first time in Egypt we have the 3D technology and the animation to make like short videos or short shows for kids and for adults as well, to have like a brief about the museum, about the projects in Egypt, new excavation in Egypt, about the landmarks in Egypt. So in addition to, we have another museum inside for the solar boat of King Khufu. We talk about the many culture halls, many places for scholars and researchers, like labs and like libraries.
Well, also the significance of being located near the Giza pyramids. Visitors can see the pyramids from the Grand Egyptian Museum, and they also can take photos with the pyramids from the gem, from the Grand Egyptian Museum. The significance of that and its role also in reviving and in flourishing tourism.
Okay, when they put the design of the museum, they choose a special spot. So if we imagine, we take a line from the tops of the 3 pyramids, the place where the 3 lines be matching, it will be the Grand Egyptian Museum. Like we built like the 4th pyramid in Giza. Also the pyramid, the museum and the pyramid, just I think 2 kilometers the distance between each other, and from the museum we have a panorama view to see the 3 pyramids together, and the people are going to enjoy there for sure to get some beautiful pictures and beautiful photos from this panorama view. And also Egypt's state now, they make like a great project to make like a way or the road to be connected between the museum and the pyramid, to make it more easier for our guests to enjoy the visit, to have now a full day in Egypt, or about full day in just in Giza. Also now it changes the plan of the tourism itineraries in Egypt, because usually we talk about the classic tours, people 8 days, 7 nights. When now we have this museum, now we add 1 more day If we go, the tourists come to see the museum and the pyramid, now we have to add an extra day, special for museum. As a tour guide, it's very hard to just cover the museum in a limit time like 2 or 3 hours. We need like a full day to see everything in the museum because it's really huge.
Yes. Also, how is this museum different from other museums in Egypt? Of course, there are many museums in Egypt, but what makes the gem unique compared to other museums?
Okay. From the beginning, we start from after you pass the gate, you find the square of the obelisk of King Ramses II. This obelisk is very special because it's the first time in history we discover an obelisk have the cartouche of the king in the bottom of the obelisk. Maybe the other obelisk have the same, we don't know, but when we discovered it, we shocked about that. That's why when they put the design of the museum, they make it the obelisk be hanging, to be the tourists can able to see the cartouche of the king in the bottom of the obelisk. Also, when you go inside, we find the statue of King Ramses II, maybe the greatest statue made ever for a human person. The height of the statue is 12 meters and the weight reached for more than 83 or 85 tons, made of granite from one stone or one block. So when the tourists talk about a human person, enter the museum and find King Ramses welcome here or welcome or greeting us. Then when you see the museum have, I think, over more than 100,000 artifacts from different ages. We started from
Pharaonic, Greek, Roman.
Exactly. To also show the variety of the Egyptian history. And people thought the Egyptian civilization just started before 7,000 years. No, the Egyptian civilization older than that. We have some artifacts inside the museum that date back to, I think, 40,000 BC. We talk about more than 42 years ago. So it's not just 7,000 years, we are older than that. Also in the museum...
It also entails, sorry for interruption, it also entails the collection and belongings of King Tutankhamun.
Yeah, for sure, that's a different
Sorry.
thing now, because now we talk about Tutankhamun tomb discovered at 1922. Since that time, the Tutankhamun artifacts be separate all over the museums in Egypt. But for the first time in the history, again one time, we gathered everything belonging to King Tutankhamun discovered inside his tomb, over than 5,300 artifacts, mainly made of gold or covered by gold, will be gathered again one more time inside one chamber like before. The most significant artifacts of King Tutankhamun, for sure, his golden mask, his golden throne, his sarcophagus, his coffins, his jars called canopic jars, which kept the organs, mummified organs inside. In addition to the shrines and all his statue, we put again in one chamber. For myself, I can't wait to see this old chamber, everything showing again together, because for sure there are some artifacts will be shown for the first time in history. Never once saw before. It will be what's inside the museum now.
Great. You mentioned the difference between the Grand Egyptian Museum and other museums in Egypt. But if we talk worldwide, the difference between the gem, for instance, and the Louvre or the British Museum, can you tell us more about the difference?
When you visit the Louvre or British Museum, they have a branch for Egyptian culture, Egyptian civilization. And also, when you're going to see our artifacts there, it's not, you feel like it's not authentic. You don't feel like these statues for the kings or these artifacts, it's not belong to here. I know they're going to preserve everything there, very well preserving, but it's not also original there. But now in Egypt, it's the biggest, we make the biggest museum for one civilization. In the Louvre Museum, it's a huge museum for different civilizations or different cultures. The same for British Museum, but the gem is the biggest one for one civilization, it's Egyptian civilization. We have in Egypt here another museum, Snemek, the National Museum of Egyptian Civilization. This museum is so wonderful, but showing that Egypt have many civilizations, like from through the ages for prehistory, then the Pharaonic era or the ancient Egyptian era, then Greek and Roman, Byzantine, Christian, and then the Islamic and then modern history. But in the gem, specific for one culture or one civilization.
Great. Also, Mr. Salah, I would like to know more from you about the global impact of the inauguration ceremony, which will take place next July worldwide. Prime Minister Dr. Mustafa Madbouli said that it is a very good opportunity to promote for the landmarks here in Egypt, and also he said that the inauguration will not be limited for one day, but it will continue for several days. And also, as we know, there will be heads of states, presidents, high-ranking officials, celebrities. They were all invited to attend the opening ceremony. So how do you see the impact of the inauguration ceremony worldwide?
Okay, let's start from Egypt already raised the bar for the whole world after we make the Sphinx Avenue in Luxor, and the ceremony is the Golden Mummy parades we made in Cairo, I think in 3 years ago or 4 years ago. So we now raise the bar for everyone in the world to be now waiting what the Egypt going to do. After the huge ceremony we make, like Golden Mummy parade, for myself, I'm asking me that day, and we talk with my colleagues as a tour guides, what Egypt going to do more? If we just make the Golden Mummy parade, we're opening a new museum, but what about the gym? What are Egypt going to do? I think, and I believe in that, Egypt going to make a sermon, the whole history would be talk about it. As we before, as Egyptians, we know how to make a sermons. We will make the Golden Mummy parade, we make the Sphinx Avenue. Before, maybe 150 years ago, we made the sermon of the Suez Canal opening, which still until this moment, historians talk about it. So Egypt know how to make a great ceremony, and for sure our President and our Minister of Foreign Affairs start to send the invitations for all the states, presidents, and all the kings all over the world, Prime Minister all over the world to come to attend this ceremony. It sends a great message for everyone. Egypt, it's safe. It's very important, because most of the people in the world don't think very well about the Egyptian location and the Egypt site, how we are located. They are thought that we are North Africa. Yeah, we are neighbor for from all around us. We have many problems or many crises around us, but Egypt is still safe. Egypt is different from any other country in the world. They don't believe that, but now we have the good opportunity or the good time to boast that Egypt is safe. The climate in Egypt is so well, so perfect.
Location is very unique. The weather is very unique.
Exactly, exactly. I think there is no country in the world that have what Egypt have. To have two shores, to have the Nile River in between, rich history, rich culture, rich heritage. So we can't bet anyone in the world for that.
Yes, and also we do have, beside the cultural tourism, we do have conference tourism, religious tourism, medical tourism, different kinds of tourism that tourists look forward to, right?
If we met any other guest from maybe 15 years ago, and they ask him about Egypt, we talk about, okay, pyramids, Sphinx, Tutankhamun, Hurghada, Sharm el-Sheikh, that's it. But now for the last 10 years, during the time of the reign of the President Sisi, Egypt raised again. Now Egypt is very qualified to carry on all patterns of tourism. Even start to invent more new patterns. For now, if you look for the conference tourism, Egypt held on many conferences. Every year we have a new conference or world or global conference in Egypt. About the sports, we have every day one of the championships for many sports held on in Egypt. Like, for example, last year we have here the championship of the chess in Egypt, and also for the sheesh sport was also here in Egypt. So every year we have some new things to do. And also this year we're going to hold on, I think, one of the events for volleyball or I think basketball will be here. For African nation, it will be in the new administration capital. If we talk about the beach tourism, Egypt now have the new cities with the new beaches, like a new Alamein city. Now we have Hurghada, Gona, we have Sharm el-Sheikh. Every single spot now, Egypt have showing that for people to come to Egypt. If you just see Hurghada or Sharm el-Sheikh, no, come. We still have new coast or new beaches open, and new cities we have.
And also cruises like that from Luxor to Aswan.
Yeah, exactly. Now the
safari.
Sure, for sure. People come to ask, okay, I want to do that. We will take the cruise from Aswan to Luxor or Luxor to Aswan to enjoy the weather in Upper Egypt with the perfect view of the Nile River. You can imagine to just be sailing during sunset. You will be falling in love in Egypt and asking, we want to try to do it again.
And also we do have the medical tourism like Safaga sand and Siwa sand.
Yeah, and also the spring water or the natural lakes like in Siwa, like Ayun Musa, like Cleopatra, between Cleopatra spring water between Luxor and Safaga. So now we're going back again for the medical or the natural medical treatment.
Great. Also, back once again to our topic, the Grand Egyptian Museum. What special events will be held during the year 2025? We know that there will be exhibitions held, seminars, workshops, different activities,
Yeah,
right?
for sure.
So tell us more about the kind of events that will be held this year in 2025.
Okay, when Dr. Mustafa Bouli, the Prime Minister of Egypt, announcing that the inauguration of the museum will be in 3rd of July, we talk about many special events happen around the ceremony, not just to be a ceremony or occasions, but we have many events around for the whole museums or sites, not just in Egypt, or no, sorry, not just for the gym. For example, last month in the Nemeth Museum, we have the workshop about the traditional food of Egypt, and also the natural perfumes industry in ancient Egypt. It was in the Egyptian Museum. And also the gym last year we make a great event for Tutankhamun to going for enjoy by the 3D technology and AI or all this one to feel like you enter in now the tomb of Tutankhamun and you meet Tutankhamun in person by hologram. Sure, they're going to repeat it again and also make a workshop after they open the solar boat museum to talk about the boats in ancient Egypt and the sailing in ancient Egypt, and also nowadays in the Egyptian Museum they make like an exception for the food in ancient Egypt and the culture of how showing that how the Egyptian people in ancient time they brought the first improvement or the first improve that the Egyptian person turning from be a hunter to be an citizen, to know how to produce his food and how to make a bread, and they're showing some original bread pieces. It's put inside the museum now.
Great. Also, would you please tell us more about the design of the gem as it entails the ancient history and also the modern vision, right?
Exactly. If we talk about the facade of the museum, it's showing that the museum have 3 pyramids representing the pyramids of King Khufu or Cheops and Khafre and Nikarios, and made of a natural stone of Egypt, limestone and alabaster stone. Then when we enter in the museum, we're going to see the view how to lead the light inside by technology or the modern technology, how to turn the solar light inside the museum, but at the same time to make like a filtration for it, to never be harmful for the statues on the Great Gallery. Then when going for the galleries of the museum, they put the design to be moving through the edges without you feeling that, like you are flying by the time machine. So the Grand Museum have now for the main gallery, they have 3 scenes. First one is society, second one is kingship, third one is beliefs, or the religion in ancient Egypt. From the edges from the prehistory period and the Old Kingdom, then going to Middle Kingdom, then the New Kingdom, until the Greek and Roman time, to show what different happened in Egyptian culture, what different happens in society of Egypt, to improve that the people of Egypt is also not just a closed society, but Egypt also it was a cosmopolitan or tolerance society, can occupy everyone, but at the same time we still save our character. So when you enter the museum, especially for the Greek and Roman place or spot, you find that the Greeks and Romans start to make statues like Egyptians, start to be wearing like Egyptians, buried like Egyptians in sarcophagus, and try to mummify their bodies. Also, the museum showing many artifacts for different categories, not just statue or sarcophagus, but also documentations or documents of papyrus, the collection of Queen Hatshepsut, the mother of King Khufu. We talk about now 4,500 years old. Her collection, her bed, her throne. Also to see statue of Queen Hatshepsut. It's put like the masterpiece of the New Kingdom to show what the value of the woman and the importance of women inside the ancient Egyptian society, as we talk about the first lady ruled Egypt.
Great. Also, how about the international collaboration in the field of archaeology?
Okay. Till now, still Egypt, we have many exhibitions by many different schools or many different universities or labs in over the world. So it's helping the Egyptian antiquities minister and for tourism to have like new excavations. So for example, in Saqqara we have now the Egyptian excavations plus the Japanese and British and the French. So working in several places in Saqqara, and last week we discovered some new excavations according to the Minister of Antiquities announcing that. Also in Alexandria, the Polish excavations. All this cooperation enrich our experience for Egyptian archaeologists or Egyptian Egyptologists, and at the same time helping us to lead for new excavations, like what Dr. Zayha was announcing last month, in February, the new excavations inside the Valley of the Kings or Hatshepsut temple to change our vision about the history. For the whole history, we saw that it was a competition or a debate or a fight between Hatshepsut, Queen Hatshepsut, and King Thutmose III, her stepson. But finally, we find a new inscriptions just 2 months ago, as Thutmose III going to make some restorations inside temple of Hatshepsut. So he wasn't the same one who going to attack her temple. It should be a different king. Also, we discovered a new tomb in the Valley of the Kings. It was the first tomb discovered since Tutankhamun tomb after 102 years.
Great. We will continue our discussion, but allow me to go to a short break and then we will be back. So, dear viewers, a short break and then we will be back to resume our discussions, so stay tuned. Welcome back, dear viewers, and still with Mr. Salah Hadaet, tourism expert, and we're talking about the Grand Egyptian Museum and also Egyptian heritage. So what makes Egypt's heritage so unique compared to other civilizations from your point of view? Of course, we have a great history and a great civilization, but what makes it so unique compared to other civilizations?
Let's start from the beginning to say there is no country all over the world held on 4 civilizations and 3 religions in the same time. Sure, in Egypt when other civilizations arrived, like let's start from the beginning. We have in Egypt many dynasties. We ruled by 30 dynasties. There is no dynasty coming over the other one to demolish them history or remove them history from the history or from our history. So that's showing also from the beginning Egyptian person or Egyptian character. It's showing the tyrants all over the time. For another example, we can see for any other civilizations appear close to Egypt, when another dynasty coming to take over the throne to destroy what the other dynasty built before. But Egypt, no, we keep continuing it. Then Egypt, when we're going to be under the occupation, like when Alexander the Great conquered Egypt, he not conquest Egypt to remove the history of Egypt. No, he coming to continue the history of Egypt, and then the Ptolemaic dynasty which ruled Egypt after that. Show also how the importance of Egypt during the Ptolemaic dynasty. The Ptolemy the First or Soter, he was afraid from Egypt going for one day in the civil war. How to avoid it? By unifying the religion between Egypt and Greece to be one religion. When they make the cooperation between God Osiris and the God Seth and the God Zeus, to have a new god called Serapis, to be the main god or the unification god or the unified people now, or the unified Egyptian at that time nations will mix between Egyptian and the Greek plus the Jewish at that time. Then when the Romans arrive, they respect Egypt and respect the religion, and that's why you can looking for temples in Upper Egypt like Phila Temple, Esna, Komombo, Edfu, Horus Temple. We find some Roman emperors come to add some buildings and build something additional in the temples to show respect for Egyptian god and goddesses, and also show respect for the Egyptian people. Also, for another example, when Augustus, the first Roman emperor in Egypt, he put Egypt as a separate nationality. No one can able to enter Egypt without declaration from the emperor, and they make Alexandrian, make the Alexandria be a separate nationality. In that time, make like a special to enter by our now today in our terminology, to enter Alexandria you need a separate visa to go inside. That's all enrich our history, enrich our heritage, because now we can to add and add and add, and Egypt can know how to squeeze everyone coming and then add a special heritage of Egypt. So if we look around why Egypt still kept the special art of Egypt be different from any other schools of art or any other type of art all over around Egypt, in maybe in Middle East and other time or other civilizations appear in that time. Because now we have our Egyptian art. We, for example, the arabesque is design. It's just appear in Egypt. Why? Because it's Egyptian art. It's a mix between the ancient Egyptian way to how to make, like started in old time, like we can say like mosaics, and then they separate the stone, replace the stone by wood, and then make how to make these decorations. We find all of it was one day inside the tombs, inside the in Valley of Kings or inside the Luxor and Aswan tombs, which mean we have a special memory. It's kept inside, already transferred from generation to generation, and we still kept it until today. Also, if we look for the new today, for example, the Egyptian porcelain. All over the world, all over the world, they are talking about the porcelain is Chinese product, but we can see inside the tomb of or pyramid of King Djeser, we talk about year 2665 BC. We find the faience or the porcelain inside his tomb. So Egypt know the first country all over the world know how to make porcelain. And if you look for the design today and date back to the Fatimids era or the Islamic era, and then going more forward for the Greek and Roman and also for Egyptians, you can feel like the same artists make it.
You mean that Egyptians have their own art, their own
character.
Yes.
For sure, even for our type of food. From the smell of the food, you can know this Egyptian food. There's not any other country can make it especially like Egypt. Like during the break, we saw the planet of koshari. It had many mix between many stuff inside. So it started first by lentil and rice, and then we know how to, or the macaroni or pasta invent Egypt during the time of Khedivi, Said and Khedivi, Ismail. They add then at later. When Muhammad Ali brought the tomato to grow up in Egypt, they add the tomato sauce for it before just to make like garlic and vinegar. So Egyptian
unique dishes that are only known for Egyptians.
For
that
Egyptian people.
Egyptians are only famous for.
Exactly,
Yes.
they have our signature. Another example like the dish or the dessert called Ali, baklava. All this cuisine of Egypt, I know later by the occupation of the Ottoman occupation, they start to take our cuisine and then start to replacing the names from Egyptian baklava to be Turkish baklava. And now we have these debates between Egypt and Turkey to how to improve that it's Egyptian food, and Egypt now trying to protect our heritage from other people trying to take it, to put like and to add their names on it. So by the way, it's one of this stuff, it's called Ali, our special dessert. For example, it's a very basic, a dry bread, add some sugar and some milk and then eat it. Very simple, and we know the history or the story behind that of Ali. It was a widow of Aybak, the Sultan, first Mamluk Sultan of the history, and when she takes the revenge for her husband from Shagar al-Dur, the queen of Egypt at that time, she makes this dessert to separate in the people, to give the people, because she happy to, before she takes her revenge and put her son on the throne of Egypt. So all our cuisine, all our drinks, all our beverage, all our history, or our own heritage, it's natural by Egypt. Just you can find in Egypt. Same like papyrus. There is nowhere in the world that the papyrus are raised up. Just raised up in Egypt. Also the lotus flower, Egyptian lotus different from the other lotus flowers appear in the world. Because maybe Egypt, I think, because I met many different guests from all over the world.
Yes, when they come to Egypt, they ask for that special dishes.
For sure. Dishes and also for Egyptian perfumes, Egyptian papyrus, Egyptian cotton, for sure the best cotton in the world. But there is something as a gift from Allah to have like special thing, like Egypt is the only country in the world have the blue lotus. The lotus is a flower, have many colors like red or pink or white or blue. You can find it in India, find it in Mexico, anywhere, but just in Egypt we have this blue. It never appears anywhere in the world. And also it just appears in south, never appear in north. So there's something special, make people looking shocked when we're looking for our food. Like now we are in Eid. So Eid Mubarak, we talk about our kahk. We can find this kahk painting on the walls of the tombs in the Luxor, in the workers' tombs and the noble tombs in Abdul Karna. So, which means Egyptians know how to make kahk, know how to make these desserts or this sweet during festivals for over than 4,000 years. So I think there is no country in the world can keep eating the same type of food for 4,000 years.
Yes, many, many years, very long
Exactly.
time.
What make Egypt very distinguished and make Egyptian heritage so special in the world because its fertility. I don't think we can find like in Egypt if he moved from Luxor to Aswan, then going back for Cairo, then went to Alexandria, then visit east of Egypt for the like Arabian or Bedouin Sharm el-Sheikh and all Sinai, and then come to Western Desert to visit Siwa to see the Bedouin. We never see this variety of Egyptian culture anywhere in the world, even for phonetics, customs, appearance, how they celebrate for them weddings. All of that they still kept it under the Egyptian heritage. Like the wedding in Delta, in north, in the countryside is totally different from the weddings in Upper Egypt. If you attend the wedding party inside the Nubian village or Nubian families, it's different from in other Bedouins or in other sides. If we say just the Bedouins, it will be different from east to west of Egypt. Also, if you visit the Mimic Museum and see the variety, even for appearance for the ladies, especially for ladies, how the dresses is looking different from district to other district or province in Egypt.
Well, we just have 2 minutes, so I would like to end the episode by an advice you would like to give to Egyptians who would like to work in the field of archaeology. What would you like to tell them?
They have to, because Egyptian history, everything we have some updates, everything we're going to have something new, so we still have opportunity to have your special career in the history. Especially, we have now, Egypt is the only country in the world to have a field of science by its name, Egyptology. So I think there is no country in the world that still have, even Greece just be a classic archaeology, but Egypt just have Egyptology. So you still have the chance to going to explore more about Egypt. We have to feel proud about our history, about our heritage, because we need to showing, and I'm very happy because after many ceremonies Egypt had in several years, last few years, the national expert for Egyptians about their own, feel proud about their own history, start to raise up again. So people start to know now what the meaning of Kemet. It's very important, because before, if I told someone, what do you know what the meaning of Kemet, he don't know. But now Kemet means the black land, or the ancient name of Egypt. So it's really good chance for Egyptian, all Egyptian, not just for new scholars or new students, even for people who already done them studies to research more in our history, because you'll find something still, something new to know about our history.
So your advice is to delve more into the Egyptian history and to learn more about the Egyptian civilization, Egyptian history.
Exactly, it's a great also to invest in the Egyptian heritage. If we start to just make some new research and we will find something new, make us maybe any other investors coming to invest in Egyptian heritage, we're going to find something, make his business or make our heritage, use our heritage to how to invest in it, because it's worth to invest in our, to study, to invest, to going to make some new researches. We'll find something new still hidden for us.
Great. Unfortunately, our time has come to an end, but I would like to thank you so much, Mr. Salah, for coming today. Mr. Salah Hadaet, tourism expert. Thank you so much for your information and for your insight. Thank you
for your invitation, and see you later.
Inshallah. Thank you so much. And dear viewers, by that we come to the end of this edition of Windows. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more on RTV International.